So now we have a discussion panel. I'm chairing this discussion panel, and I have a few questions for all of us. Sadly, Richard cannot be here. He's traveling, and he's quite kind of engaged with his new initiative of tokenizing building assets. But I have questions about his presentations, but I think we can articulate that. So first of all, something that I find quite interesting is this process of going from a very kind of present mode of operation to a digitally transformed new way to do things. So, and going through the processes of digitization, digitalization, and eventually digitally transformed. What do you think is the right balance in terms of being digitally transformed? Because you've presented quite a few challenges, both of you presented quite a few challenges, cybersecurity, privacy, etc. So what do you think about that? You know, how fast should we go, or are we not going fast enough?
Yeah, I can start.
Sure.
So one of the things that the case study that I mentioned, which was Estonian government, one of the things they realized actually at a later stage was that they cannot totally rely on everything being digital. So part of their strategy was to create these so-called data embassies. But of course, in addition to having everything digitally, they are also opting for a paper-based collection of that same information as a backup. So they have shifted their thinking a little bit post the cybersecurity threats that they had in 2007. So they have started to think about having a balanced approach in the storage of some of the information just as a potential backup. And I believe that we may look for a similar approach in our industry as well, a balanced approach to digitizing and to digitally twinning our assets, because I'm sure many of you have thought about and heard about the doomsday scenario of the Y2Ks. What will happen if we lose all connectivity? And our systems of systems are solely dependent upon digital forms of sharing of information. So from what I've understood in the case study of governments that have radically digitized virtually all of their national information, is that upon reflection, they've opted for a more balanced approach to it.
Okay, and this option was instigated by problems they came across, or was just like they felt like that is a good strategy because we can see the danger?
Probably both. They probably realized that there is a danger in this approach to solely rely, or I mean, it's the same principle, right? Putting all of your eggs in one basket. I mean, overall, their strategy of relying on digital information and digitizing was a good one, which they started early in the 90s. And it's worked so far and worked quite well. But as a result of the incidents that I mentioned that occurred in 2007, it forced them to rethink the approach slightly.
Right. And Mikhail, how do you see that?
Yeah, I think I echo most of what Erika just said. So I think that, like I said in my talk, we pretty much have the technology that we need for digitization or digitalization. And for me, it's mainly about making things smarter and more connected. And it's IoT. IoT now it's around since, yeah, it depends when we start to change the term between wireless sensor network and IoT, but I would say roughly 15, 20 years, more or less. But so we can actually do that. We can go full speed with the digitization, but yeah, we start to realize that we had more and more security threats. So definitely we need to solve other fundamental issues before, like identity of device, access control in a way that works. So, and again, not to repeat myself, distributed ledger might play a role, but also the technology. So the approach will be that we start slow and we start to learn and we start to do this gradually without exposing ourselves to too many risks of all-in digitization just now because the technology is available, because there might be other aspects that we might underestimate. And like Erica said as well, we need to think about more digitization brings more risk and more threat, and that's fine. We can try to cope with them. We probably will not be able to stop all of them, because the more we become smarter, the attacker will become even smarter than us. So that's not, but way like Erica said, the way to go back to the state we started, we might lose with some attack. It's also very important. So we shouldn't forget that, yeah, the digitization and all connected is the solution. Maybe we should have also still some digital part that remain not connected, not exposed to risk, be able to fall back in case we have problem, in case we fall in the issue that we didn't foresee. So yeah, I wouldn't go all in one direction or the other. So we need always the right balance, the right risk assessment and the management strategy in place.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, so you already answered my next question. I do have one after that. But the first, there's a question from Ben, and he's asking, when is the smart contract support coming to IOTA? Would it be Ethereum compatible?
That's a question. I'm not allowed to give ETA, but we are close. And yes, our main ambition is to make smart contract interoperable. So you can run a IOTA smart contract inside Ethereum, and yeah, perhaps bridge between the two networks as well. So that is, we think that bridging technology and bridging ledger is also one of the key. Smart contract can be one way of doing that. And it's very important for us because, like I said before, present IOTA in a way that can have some benefits for some challenge. But again, like digitization and not digitization, I don't see all black and white. I don't see IOTA being good for all the use cases, for all the jurisdiction, for all the continents. It's good to have interoperability at the core, and the smart contract will play a role.
Yeah, I think Dominic from IOTA, Dominic Zettel,
yeah,
just answer saying we release a beta just today. Smiley face.
It's a developer knows more than me, software engineer, so he knows when he has to use the new technology. Oh, good to know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And this is for the testnet only, I think, I believe.
Yeah, no, exactly. In the test net, we have the dev net IOTA 2.0. There are still there is already available. I didn't know about the beta today, so good spot, Dominic. But yeah, okay. Official ETA, yeah, soon rather than later. But yeah,
great. Yeah, so so there is another question here from Mohamed Semith from him to Erica. I have a question to Erica. What do you think about the current level of cybersecurity awareness in the construction industry? How do you think it would be improved? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think if we're talking about construction, there's some clear areas that require, let's say, increased general knowledge and awareness of cybersecurity, and in particular for labor and staff. And as we all know, we're dealing with a lot of subcontractors, a lot of different third parties that are exchanging information. Just having a better awareness from a company's or a firm level perspective is important, and even with the subcontractors that you're engaging with. And that's probably the number one, is starting out with people and starting out to uncover within the firm itself what's the general fundamental knowledge and awareness about cybersecurity, and just the basics of what in cybersecurity is called the 101. Things that relate to passwords and accessing information and avoiding certain types of potential phishing links that are often emailed to us. we've all experienced these types of things, but it's important, at least what I've witnessed, is to start with the people. And then after that, you can start examining the technology related vulnerabilities and to be more aware or conscious of those.
Okay, I think cybersecurity often starts from a human level, right? There's quite a lot that happens at that level of human failure, and then things then change dramatically when they gain access.
Yeah.
I'm noting the time. I would ask you just one final question, and this is a question I have here because I'm quite interested in data architectures for digital twin. And one of the preferred approaches for a data architecture for infrastructure digital twins is this concept of the cloud, the edge, and the shore. So cloud solutions, the edge solution, and the shore close to the edge, and what happens within that. And then you have, you name it, from IoT infrastructure, a network fabric for the IoT systems. You have the edge computing happening. You have the cloud computing happening, and you have that shore, which is close to the edge, but it's often communities making use of the edge and the cloud, and also with some local computing. Now, as we all know, the devil is in the detail. And I would just ask you if you wish to name one devil, one thing that you think in this formula for digital twins, this cloud, edge, shore, data infrastructure, that you can see this is a obvious suspect for failure, or to the other side of the spectrum, for huge gains and for new opportunities.
Okay, I'll give a start, maybe saying something that is not 100% relevant. I'm not, like I said, for me, the digital twin, it's more an opportunity, but yeah, the industry is also having its own view. I would say that I see the edge being the privacy side, because data can stay locally, doesn't need to travel too much, and can be processed at the edge. I see the cloud being the convenience of bringing the different elements together. It can have reliability, of course, distributed cloud and things like this, but the more elements you add, the more the information travel, whatever information travel different systems, the more risk that this information might change, might be lost, might be, yeah, even attack. So and I was saying that, but I think the main link is actually the link between all these technologies. So if you don't have a way for this technology, when they communicate, to have either a way to fall back in case some data are lost or some data are changed, like guaranteeing the integrity of data, that can be a risk, can be always a risk. So in my opinion, I think not replacing this architecture, I think cloud again might be, even for a fastest distributed ledger, might be the best and the easiest way for accessing information, but having a way to control that the information has not changed, attack, that doesn't depend only on one authority, one organization, even if it's replicated, it's something that we need to consider. And yeah, probably distributed ledger might be the fourth in this case element to somehow patch and glue all of this.
Okay, like the fourth space for data.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, I'm all in for integration rather than replacing, and so I will explore a bit more this current paradigm, and see how we can contribute to that.
Okay, my answer is going to be a lot less technical because I'm not an expert in system architecture, but from what I've seen and understood so far, the devil boils down to the individual. And the number one thing I keep seeing across a lot of these examples is really bad password management. Surprisingly bad. And so I think it starts with educating people with the basics.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've run out of time. I thought the session was extremely exciting and insightful. Very happy that you made it here, and we had those wonderful presentations. Erica, thank you so much for making the time, and Michaela, thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you all very shortly.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.